I still love you, though.
I know you do.
All right.
Chris Russo does not get enough credit for having a very punchable face.
It's a good thing he's
Radio,
not
man.
streaming this show right now because he totally would have heard that.
Okay.
It's a good thing. You're lucky.
Yeah.
45 seconds.
Maybe he's watching.
Maybe.
Oh,
Oh.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He was an Englishman. He remains an Englishman.
15 seconds.
HMS Pinafore. That's the best advertisement HMS Pinafore ever got.
It's true.
Yes, y'all! Back at the DCTF Live Mothership, it is DCTF Live. My name is Greg Tepper. I'm the managing editor of Dave Campbell's Texas Football and TexasFootball.com. Thank you for spending part of your day with us talking football in Texas. Sitting across from me in a green shirt is Max Thompson.
Yes.
Max,
hello.
how are
This
you?
is a green shirt.
It is. It's very green.
I'm
Two
great,
days
man.
2 days before St. Patrick's Day.
I've semi-caught up on sleep since our South by adventure, so I'm feeling better.
We will get into that in just a little bit, and then a little bit later we are going to be joined by James Lott. James Lott, the new...
the official recruiting analyst.
Thank you. Official recruiting analyst. Sometimes I forget his official title.
It's okay.
We're going to talk wide receivers in the 2017 class.
There are some good ones.
Should be a lot of fun. So this is a fun time. Oh, I'm sorry. It is Tuesday, March 15th, 2016, episode 94. 94, the number of at-bats for Gary Gray as a Texas Ranger.
Is that all?
That's all.
Wow.
Although he had 97 plate appearances because he walked 3 times. So this is a great time of year for me because, and for us, although this is the first time you're going through a summer book process, it's a great time of year because this is when we really get into, like I email all the coaches. I talk to all the coaches all the time. This is the time when I talk to the most coaches because during the season, they've obviously got other things on their plate.
Yes.
But this is when I get great emails like the one I just got. I will withhold his name, but I wrote him an email. He turned in his questionnaire and I wrote back and said, hey, thanks. Let us know if we can ever do anything for you. You know, a relatively standard response. You know, happy to help, whatever you know. And he just wrote back right now and said, you can send us a couple players. I appreciate your candor, Coach. I appreciate your candor.
I don't think you want our players.
No, you don't. No, the players I'm going to send you are old and broken down and good at sitting behind desks and talking into microphones, but not much else.
That's about it.
So may I rant for a moment?
I'm not doing anything.
Okay. So you're not a Facebook guy.
Oh, no.
No, you're not a Facebook
I've been off
guy.
the Facebook grid for almost 3 years
Yeah,
now.
and you don't miss it?
No.
You really don't.
It's a pointless time suck.
It really is. And I'll tell you that the one thing that Facebook has become, since it's people my age, I'm 29, and you're 70?
I can't remember.
Okay.
Honestly, the other day I said how old I was in front of people, and my wife corrected me. So I actually can't ever keep straight how old I am.
So around this time of life, I've got a lot of friends having babies. And There's a couple of things on Facebook that are really bothersome.
Here we go.
One's the ultrasound picture.
Right.
Kind of gross.
Yeah.
Okay, kind of gross. I like if and when my wife tricks me into,
Right.
having a kid, I don't even want to see that ultrasound. Okay.
Yeah.
The other one, and this is what drives me nuts, okay, is the we're having a baby announcement. It's
be
fine.
Really clever and
it's
creative.
Fine. Yeah, okay, there's all these clever, creative things. That's fine, I understand. You want to let a lot of people know that you are, in fact, knocked up, and that's fine, okay? So here's the one that drives me nuts, though, are the people who use their dogs. Okay, now you're a dog guy. You've got 2 dogs. 2 great dogs. I think your dogs are cool.
My dogs are pretty awesome.
I like your dogs.
I have a dog story when we're done with this.
Okay. What drives me nuts is when they will do the thing, and this is relatively rampant. They will do the thing where the dog is like sitting next to a sign or holding a sign and says, "I'm going to be a big brother."
Oh, jeez.
No, you're not. No, you are not. That is interspecies, and that is weird. Okay? That dog is not a sibling of the baby that is inside your tum-tum right now. Okay?
Right. Sure.
And I understand that people have a big affinity for your dogs. You probably treat your dogs in a lot of ways better than you would treat a child if you had a child.
I don't know. I'm pretty condescending to both, I would think.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Equally. You treat them equally. All right.
Sure.
But I think that, and I love dogs. I've been on record.
Yeah.
I'm a staunch supporter of dogs.
This is a dog-friendly space.
But the idea that they are like your child,
Right.
we've got to stop.
Yeah.
We are better than dogs as humans. That's just the fact of the matter.
Right.
We have an internet show.
Yeah.
I have seen 0 dog internet shows.
Though to be fair, if my dogs had an internet show, it would.
I'd watch the hell out of it.
Way more people would watch that than this.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, it wouldn't be close.
If Koufax had we're sitting up here ranting about IAMS.
Yes,
that'd be awesome.
Oh yeah.
Okay, give me your dog story.
Koufax. So I have 2 dogs. I'm a big dog guy. Big dogs are my jam. But when I wanted a dog, straight out of college, I needed one that could live in an apartment, and I wouldn't feel cruel for having it in an apartment all day. So I got an Italian Greyhound. If you don't know anything about Italian Greyhounds, they're weirdos. And number one priority is comedic relief.
And basically take a Greyhound and just shrink it.
Shrink it to 15 pounds.
Yeah.
And that's what it looks like.
Yes.
Koufax is hilarious, named after Sandy Koufax. I feel like that's obvious, but sometimes people don't understand.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Koufax's one great skill, he's a dope. He's hilarious. He's a dope. But his one great skill is he is a genius ninja when it comes to getting to food that he is not supposed to have.
Okay.
Right? My best stories are all Koufax trying to get food stories, right? And it's a progression. You can, if you used to him, you notice him trying to find ways to not be noticed as he gets closer to food over time. Days, weeks, months, where the food is, how he can come at it from another angle.
Right.
I've caught Koufax trying to run grilled chicken breasts across whole apartment courtyards. He stole a huge slice of grilled pineapple at one point and hid it in the back of his kennel and ate it over days. He's a genius when it comes to stealing food.
Okay.
In our current living arrangement, he is often caught sitting on dining room chairs and just sitting there, not even looking at the table. He'll be looking at you, and he'd be like, "Oh, that's a weird quirk, right? That's funny."
Yeah.
He just thinks it's funny to sit on dining room chairs.
No.
While we were at South by Southwest, Koufax was caught sitting on a dining room chair with his paws on the table, licking up the salmon scraps on my father-in-law's dinner plate.
Oh boy.
On one hand, I have to admire the gumption. He is a small man. He is not particularly brave in other situations.
Can't knock the hustle.
But, man, I would have loved to have been there to see that because that's ninja. That's genius ninja moves by Koufax.
That's pretty great.
He's pretty awesome.
I'm on Team Koufax. You know that. Yeah. You know I like him. We are DCTF Live. We're here every weekday at noon on TexasFootball.com, talking football in the state of Texas. We're on Twitter. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. And we have a website. Max, we weren't here yesterday. We didn't do a show. Well, you were.
I was here.
I was driving back.
That's right.
From Austin.
Yeah.
We were down in Austin for the South by Southwest, what do you even call that? Conference? Festival?
Festival, I guess. Yeah.
Doodah. Getting together. We got together with our friends at Blogs with Balls, Fansided. and Transition Sports and Entertainment, which first and foremost, go follow all of them on Twitter and do whatever you can to be involved with Blogs with Balls, Fansided, and Transition Sports and Entertainment, because that was an A++ event. We didn't
awesome
do
party.
a whole lot. We kind of showed up and did the show.
Many awesome luminaries in attendance.
My goodness.
Yeah.
That was, it was a who's who of, like, for nerds like me, right? It was like my Twitter feed had just, like, shown up there. You were talking with Jessica Luther for a long time.
That was awesome.
I'm very envious because I didn't get a chance to talk with her because she's great.
Right.
I believe Jamel Hill was there for a while.
Jamel Hill and Michael Smith of His and Hers ESPN. They were at our party.
Michael Smith were there. Just kind of a who's who. My friend Amanda Rykoff was there. Steph Stradley from the Houston Chronicle was there. It was kind of a who's who. Did I see Sid Ziegler there?
Yeah,
from
Sid Ziegler was there for
Outsports.com?
the first hour.
I'm really upset I didn't get to meet him. Sid Ziegler of Outsports.com. It was a who's who. And that doesn't even count the people we got to have on the show.
Yeah.
That was
just a bunch of awesome NFL players.
Yeah, well, first, we had Danny Davis of the Austin American Statesman.
Danny was obviously the star. That's why we saved him for
We
last.
saved him for last.
Finished strong.
We had Danny Davis on, but then we had what's more than a trio? A
Quadrette?
A quadrant. We'll go with that. Of NFL stars.
Quartet,
that's it.
There it is.
Professional word guy.
Yeah.
We had a quartet of really big-time names. And we started it off with, as he corrected me, a 3-time All-Pro linebacker.
Yeah, Pro Bowl linebacker wasn't enough for our friend Keith Bullock.
Keith Bullock
wasn't going to happen.
Joined us. First and foremost, an extremely affable guy.
He's a lot of fun. I first met him at a Kentucky Derby party up in New York City, in which I was the only one.
Boy, that's the haughtiest thing you've ever said.
In which I was the only one that showed up in a seersucker suit. So I will forever to Keith be like, "Oh yeah, you're a seersucker suit guy."
Yeah. That's pretty. That's pretty much it. So we had Keith Bullock on. We talked about his transition from playing to what he's doing now, which is he's involved with Transition Sports and Entertainment.
Right.
And he's kind of doing a lot. He's involved with a lot of different charity work.
Yeah.
And then I asked him about, the league and stuff. I thought the most interesting thing he said was that he thinks that the NFL is getting too not physical enough, which is, for a guy like that, probably not surprising, right?
Nah.
No, I mean, he wants it to be as physical as possible. He's like, wide receivers, let him run free. It's stupid, which, but it was great to have him on. Then we talked with Bo Scaife.
Yeah.
Bo Scaife, one of the most
lifetime Longhorn,
one of the most prolific tight ends in recent NFL history, and of course on those championship teams in the 2000s. Therefore, with the NFL, or rather with the Longhorns. Talked with him about what he's doing. The theme, I think, of all of these guys were that these were guys who clearly had a good head on their shoulders and clearly thought that the NFL was a stop, not a destination.
Right.
And that this was a way to get there. And so he's doing a lot of different other things. By the way, the show's up on TexasFootball.com, so you can go watch it. But we enjoyed talking with Bo Scaife about coming from Colorado to Texas and basically how he was recruited by one guy that was able to get him. And he's like, this guy teed it up, and then Mac Brown hit it out of the park.
Set it down, yeah. Coach Tim Brewster.
Tim Brewster, that's right.
Yeah.
Tim Brewster was the guy who recruited him there. So good to talk to him. And then the next guy we had, oh my gosh. When I found out, so basically the way that this worked was that our friends at Transition Sports and Entertainment, just very well connected, and says, hey, come on over for a party, is basically what happened. Come on over. You know, we're gonna have a lot of people around. We're gonna be drinking some beers. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
By the way,
Ginger Man and Austin, which is great.
You'll meet these two dopes doing a football show. They might want to talk to you.
Exactly. That was the way it was. And so I was standing over there talking to my wife. I was standing over there talking to Tep wife, and I overheard you talking with the gentleman who runs Transition Sports and Entertainment.
Yes, Mr. Don Povia, our good friend.
I didn't know if
I think we can announce
Okay,
that.
Don Povia.
Yeah.
We're talking with Don, and he kind of mentioned, he was like, oh, yeah, it's kind of like Brad Smith. And, like, I perked up. I'm like, wait, what?
What?
So I'm a Missouri grad.
Yeah.
And I went to Missouri. I graduated in 08, which means I was there for the 04 and 05 seasons when the quarterback of the Missouri Tigers was
Brad
Smith. And Brad Smith is the first college football player I ever loved.
Yeah.
And I think he was a little freaked out when I told him that.
Probably.
But
yeah.
but
it had to be said. Now you know that he knows how you feel.
Yes, now he knows. So we talked to Brad Smith about. I asked him what his thoughts on what was going on at Missouri. Obviously, I think I would be remiss if I didn't ask him about that.
Right, absolutely.
That's the big story.
Yeah.
About Gary Pinkel leaving and all the kind of racial tension going on at Missouri. I asked him about how he's feeling. He's been battling through injuries. It's clear he didn't know a whole lot about new coach Doug Peterson. I was thinking he was going to be like, oh, yeah, you know. But he was like, yeah, it's fine. You know, like, I don't really know a whole lot about him.
Yeah.
But it was great to talk to Brad Smith, a real, like, a milestone in my career.
Check that one off the list for you.
And then we talked with Emmanuel Acho.
Blew us away.
Let me tell you something about Emmanuel Acho, okay? That dude, whenever he decides to stop playing football, has a 60-year career in broadcasting ahead of him.
It's coming.
My wife could not hear it because the one bummer we had was we didn't have a PA, so we weren't able to talk to the people who were in attendance. Yeah. But the real bummer, but my wife could not hear him talking. But just based on the way he was telling the stories. Yeah. She was like, that dude is going to be a star one day. I'm like,
oh, there's no
very
question.
clear. Of course, we talked to him about going to Dallas St. Mark's. We talked to him about playing at Texas. Yeah. Could he beat up his brother? And he told a great anecdote about how watching WWF one day when he was 5, he threw the diamond cutter at his brother Sam, which is my favorite thing in the world now. The idea of that. And then, of course, as if that weren't big enough, we had Danny Davis. Oh. We talked Danny Davis. We talked high school football in Austin. We asked him about what he thought of South by Southwest. And he said, it's just something you kind of tolerate. And he said he was getting out of town in Austin.
Smart man.
I'll tell you, this was my first experience with South by Southwest.
Yeah.
I enjoyed our event. Yes. I enjoyed our event immensely. I thought that our event was fabulous. It was a lot of fun. We talked to a lot of people.
A hitch for the most part, other than my terrible lighting on Keith Bullock's interview.
But I thought our event was great.
Yeah.
If I would love to do another event down at South by Southwest, I would love to do it. I have no interest in going to South by Southwest as a spectator.
Right.
That is a Charlie Foxtrot of the highest order. Yeah. There was my wife, before we went to do the event, you said you need to go and eat, which was probably smart. And you recommended, what was the name of it?
Second Bar and Kitchen.
Second Bar and Kitchen. Outstanding. Food was great.
So good.
On the way back to the Ginger Man, we passed this long line. Long line kind of stretching around the corner. I go, oh, wow, I guess maybe there's a big talk about to happen. Maybe that's, maybe they're who knows what they're talking about.
So many luminaries in town.
Sure.
Certainly a line around the block means big-time celebrity.
The line around the block was to get a photo with Grumpy Cat. Grumpy Cat. Grumpy Cat.
Maybe if you had a badge, you could get in
a VIP door. Don't understand it. I don't understand it, but I'm glad we went. I'm glad we got to go down there and meet all those cool people. Thanks so much to Transition Sports and Entertainment, to Blogs with Balls, to Fansided, to everybody who came. Thanks to Keith Bullock. Thanks to Emmanuel Acho. Thanks to Brad Smith. Thanks to Bo Scaife. Thanks to Danny Davis, all for taking some time away from the party to hop on with us. You can watch it at TexasFootball.com right now. You can also listen to the podcast on iTunes if you want to subscribe to the podcast. So thanks very, very much for making it a rousing success, a bigger crowd than I thought. My wife asked me, she was like, how many people do you think are going to be there? I'm like, 25, maybe 30. There were 70, 80, 90, 100 people there, which was pretty awesome. Now, part of it was the free beer, but that was a lot of fun. So we really enjoyed it, so thanks very much. We are DCTF Live. We're here every weekday at noon on TexasFootball.com. Subscribe to the podcast on iTunes. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, Instagram.com/Dave Campbell's. And, of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. One guy who knows a little something about Austin is the official recruiting analyst of Dave Campbell's Texas Football. We are joined for our weekly visit with James Lott. James, how you doing this week?
Great. What's going on today, my man?
We are doing just fine, now settling into the long haul of the offseason, but recruiting never sleeps. I first want to ask you, this weekend we saw, Twitter was abuzz about this, the Elite 11 / the opening, which there was a big thing going on in Dallas. For you, as a guy who has to consume all the recruiting data across the state, what do those camps do for you? Are those important times for you?
Oh, yeah, because what it allows me to do is get out and see some of these kids up close with the pads off, kind of see those guys interact with coaches and see how they're going to be coached, which is a little bit different than watching them in spring ball. So being able to see them in these type of events is big because I can get a true assessment on a lot of these kids and get a good look at these kids up close early in the recruiting process.
And you can see, I imagine, another big allure of it is you can see a lot of them at once. You don't have to travel from town to town to town to see one or two guys. You can see a lot of them at once. And is there value in seeing them kind of side by side running the same drills?
Yeah, there is some value in that, but you hit it right on the head. The biggest value for me is being able to see all these guys, the best in the state of Texas, in one place. So I'm not having to travel all over the state to see them. They're kind of coming to the DFW area. So these events are huge, and I look forward to getting to these events every year.
Today we're going to be talking wide receivers across the Lone Star State, and it shouldn't be any surprise with the way that offenses are going that Texas seems like it is absolutely loaded with wide receivers in the 2017 class. Is this a particularly strong class of wide receivers?
Pretty good class. I think one of the guys that I'm impressed with is Hezekiah Jones from Stafford. Speed guy, can fly, and when I say fly, he was the first place winner at the UIL state meet last year in the 200 meters, so he can get it. But a kid that can catch it, take it deep down the field, or he can catch a hitch and take it to the house. His dad is actually a coach there. He actually coaches him as a receivers coach, and he's also the head track coach there. But one of the kids that's out there that's getting a lot of looks, and a kid that I'm really impressed with. He's got big-time kick return skill, and one of those kids is going to be one of the more highly recruited guys around.
And I want to ask you about that. You mentioned the kick return skills. For a guy like with these top-tier athletes, obviously they're there for the most part to catch passes, but if you can return it, is that just a bit of a cherry on top, or is that something that kids are really or that coaches are really looking for?
I mean, if you think about it, you get one scholarship per kid. So if you got a kid that can come in and not only play receiver or running back, but also has big play capability, the ability to change the line of scrimmage every single time he touches the ball as a kick returner and punt returner, well, this kid is a bigger asset. And kids like that, like Jones, are kids that are going to be highly sought after because of what they bring to the table.
Another guy you mentioned that you really like is Omar Manning. Lancaster has a history of putting out big-time prospects, especially big-time skill position guys. Omar Manning looks like the next big thing. And I'll tell you the first thing that jumps off the page to me when I look at Omar Manning, 6'3", 210, that's a big boy.
You know what I think of when I see Omar? I watched this kid for the last 2 or 3 years develop and grow the last 2 or 3 years. I saw him the last time when they played Frisco Lone Star in the regional championship. And first thing comes to my mind is Terrell Lawrence. Big, fast, long strider, big old kid that can go up and get it, jump ball receiver. Started since his sophomore season, but big frame kid that can really, with trying to create mismatches with offenses these days is big. So if you can find a kid that can run and go up and get the ball and change the line of scrimmage, you've got an advantage. And Omar Manning is one of those kids that kind of reminds me of a young version of Terrell Owens.
That's certainly high praise.
Yeah. And well-rounded kid. Got a lot of old school values. Loves to be coached. The coaches over there love him, and they say he's a refreshing type of personality compared to these days. You get kids that are recruited highly. It kind of changes their personalities. So for a high school coach, with a kid like Omar, being able to get a kid that's humble, that understands that he's just starting and he's got a long way to go, that he doesn't mind working, is a blessing. So I'm hearing great things about this kid.
We talked a bit about running backs back in a couple of weeks ago, and it seems like when you look at the offenses that colleges are running across the state, if you're a running back who wants to carry the ball 25, 30 times a game, there aren't a ton of options for you. Imagine that's exactly the opposite for wide receivers, where you look at the offenses running Tech at TCU and Baylor and A&M, these wide-open offenses, Houston. It seems like these wide receivers have great choices across the state if they want to be involved.
And if you think about it, with the Big 12 being our conference around here, everybody throws the football. Mm-hmm. So for these kids, and you're right, schools are now using 4 and 5 wideouts where they use one running back. So the advantage goes to receivers these days because there's so many options out there with what people are wanting to do offensively.
We're talking with James Lott, the official recruiting analyst of Dave Campbell's Texas Football, here on DCTF Live. Get involved in the conversation, hashtag DCTF Live. James, one more guy that you brought up that not only does he have a great name, but he also comes from a program and a coaching staff that has been known to put out a guy or two. It's Charleston Rambo, the wide receiver from Cedar Hill, and just the latest in a long line of great Cedar Hill players, huh?
Every single year, Coach McGuire is going to have several guys, and Charleston isn't anything different. Another receiver that comes out, 6'1", 185, 4'5" kid, transferred in there from Dallas Wilson High School. Another great athlete that's a sprinter, hurdler, and long jumper on the track team. You can't beat Texas when it comes to receivers, and there's no wonder every school in America wants to come in and recruit to Texas to try to come in and find these skill guys, because there's so many of these guys out there, and Charleston is another of a long line of great wide receivers to come out of the state of Texas and out of Cedar Hill.
It's funny because whenever we talk to Coach McGuire, he's always telling us, here's this next guy, here's this, this guy's going to be big, this guy's going to be big. And you'd think that he's just blustering, that he's just saying, oh, well, he's just talking up his kids. And then you go and you look and you're like, oh, yeah, he is really good.
Right. And he's one of the first coaches I call when I started recruiting and looking for young guys. I would call Coach McGuire and say, hey, who do you have out there that's a sophomore that's a big-time guy? And he starts naming off about 5 or 6 guys. I said, well, Coach, give me the ones that are that you think project out as Division I players. He said, I just did. and it's 5 or 6 guys. It's amazing. I mean, what they've got out there at those type of programs and the athletes you have to work with makes the job of coaching a lot easier, having those type of players.
He is James Lott. He is the official recruiting analyst of Dave Campbell's Texas Football. Follow him on Twitter at JL Scouting. James, appreciate your time, bud, and we will talk to you next week.
You guys have a good one.
There he goes, James Lott, the official recruiting analyst of Dave Campbell's Texas Football and TexasFootball.com. Seems like, with these styles of offenses, it's a great chicken and egg situation, right? Mm-hmm. Did the high schools mirror the colleges, or did the colleges mirror the high schools?
That's a good question.
We talk so much about how high school gives you an opportunity to innovate.
Yeah.
At colleges, if you don't win, you're going to get fired. There's certainly very little innovation at the NFL level just because the stakes are so high. because if you lose 7 games, you might be fired. At the college level, it's getting to be that way. But at the high school level, you're seeing these guys innovate. And it's funny that you've seen it kind of trickle up. When you think of the spread offense under Todd Dodge in the early 2000s and what Sam Harrell was doing at Ennis with his son Graham. These wide open offenses. And that has become now that these wide receivers are coming in. And it's no wonder that as freshmen, they're being superstars. KD Cannon, Speedy Noyle, all these guys who are able to come from high school programs. Speedy Noyle, of course, from Louisiana, but he's able to come in from a high school program that throws the ball a lot. Yeah. And just step in and immediately have an impact. I don't think that's really any surprise that at this level, at the college level, you're seeing guys who are fresh out of high school who are making a big-time impact.
Yeah, so. Especially these guys, that already have the size like an Omar Manning.
Yeah.
That you look at that and you go, well, that can play at this level
exactly.
already.
And that's the thing is you've now got the offenses are such that everybody can run. Okay, on offense and defense, you got to be able to be physical too. And if you talk about a guy like Omar Manning at Lancaster, he is a big physical beast. I know you're very high on him.
Oh yeah, I saw him make a couple spectacular catches against Timberview this year, and was like, oh, so this is why everyone's so excited about this kid. Just the body control, the hands, the whole thing.
Pretty much awesome. So that's going to do it for DCTF Live for today. Thank you for spending part of your day with us, and thanks to James Lott, the official recruiting analyst of Dave Campbell's Texas Football, for joining us as well. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/Dave Campbell's, and of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. Tomorrow we're going to be talking about our what are we calling our March Madness, our
bracket.
Our bracket.
Greatest Texas high school football player ever bracket.
We'll be talking about the first round tomorrow here on DCTF Live. Vince Young, please come get your Player of the Year trophy. We will see you tomorrow on DCTF Live.